there's a lot of great musicians out there, but there's something that happens when Mac starts playing acoustic and David's playing, and there's just this intuitive thing that it sounds like Third Day.
And I'm
as
there.
soon as we start playing. Well, I was kind of just thinking rhythmically how they play off each
If you
other.
could keep the bass down.
Let's turn the bass down a little bit.
all the way down.
All right, I want to kick this off because this is day one. We were talking about this earlier. I just wanted to get, in general,
Day one of Third Day.
day one of Third Day
Mach 2.
reunion, part two. Yeah.
Part 2.
How's it feeling? Is there ring rust? Do you feel like you're kicking it off? Because this feels like a moment. I just heard you guys play. Sounded great. Didn't sound like there was any issues. How does it feel though to be back together for this first day performing?
Yeah, it to me, you'll have to ask these guys, but to me it doesn't feel like we haven't played music together in 10 years.
No.
It just feels like, oh, maybe we took a month off and we're back. So that's kind of more how it feels to me. We've done a few songs today that are, standards, but it has been it's been many years. And so nobody's playing any wrong chords or forgetting the song. All that's there. But hopefully after we do these things a few more times, we'll get the tightness that we used to have back in the day. So, but it surprisingly doesn't feel to me like it's been years. It feels like a couple months.
I'd say too, I feel kind of relieved, honestly, because you just don't know how it's going to be. And there's a part of it too where we've known, we did the announcement that we're doing this reunion thing back in June, but we've known this was going to be happening since last year. So there's been all this anticipation, and it's like, man, what if it's not any good? And so Tai, Mac and myself got together last week just to rehearse a little bit. We got together with David yesterday, but it almost instantly, as soon as we started playing, it's like, okay, we're going to be all right. We remember how to play our instruments. We remember how to play a band. So it's going to be okay. So it's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has it actually been since you've been in the room together? I guess it's been a decade.
10 years. Since we really were all together in a room. We got together
individually.
earlier.
We've seen each other at different times and different things. But as far as the four of us, they all came to my house for dinner, I think in February.
Yeah. It's like
and that was the first time
that
that we had been together in 10 years.
Yeah.
No, because it was last year because we got together first just for dinner, and then because we did the photo shoot in like January.
Yeah, or like March.
It was. I think it was.
No, maybe
it might have
you're
been like January or early February max.
Yeah,
And
there's
then
no
like
point.
a few weeks
I should have even
later.
corrected.
The photo
Doesn't
shoot was a
matter.
few months later.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter.
Okay.
I
We'll
prefer
cut that
I
out.
prefer the arguing here.
You just witnessed the
The first fight.
I'm tired of your.
We're trying to document.
This is very Spinal Tap. All of a sudden, immediately, immediately.
We thought, hey, if they're coming back, we can come back.
I was just waiting for the bus for 9 years. I was just standing there with my bags going,
Guys.
like, when's it coming?
So one practice, and you're already on broadcasting nationwide. I mean, I think that only happens maybe in Christian music where it's like, all right, you're back together. Good. Now go do press immediately. Did you practice? No. One day.
Mark and I were talking earlier, I think a lot of fans just don't even realize that it ever kind of went away. Like they just, when are you coming out with the new album? Or when's the next tour? I'm like, the one after like 8 years of not touring and 9 years, and like it's funny because people's perception of bands that they love or artists, they just, they don't realize we haven't been on the road. And so
I noticed that actually in the comments when people were talking, when I originally posted the teaser, when you guys were like, hey, the countdown started coming. I was like, I think we know what's happening here. And some of the comments were like, didn't this end last year? Haven't they been gone for like 8 months? And I was like, and I responded to one, I was like, it's been like, even since the farewell tour side of it, it had been 8 years.
Yeah.
And I think just the time moves much different when you're getting older. And I think people go, oh man, this is real.
I think to a point on that is for 22 years that I was a part of it, and then a few more years after that, we never had 8 months off. Like there was never a season where we weren't just going next record, next tour, next record, next tour. And so I know for me, there was no thought that this would ever happen again. It was truly like something like, hey, that was something that I used to do. I'm in a new season in life. And so us like reconnecting, I mean, I know, there's so much when we're together. It's just the same as it's always been. But I really feel like I have a real appreciation for how special it is that we get to do this is such a privilege, and just kind of a responsibility with it too, that, you know, this music means so much to so many people. And so for my part, and I know everyone feels this way too, but it's like, I just want it to really be excellent and give people what they deserve.
One of the questions I had specifically for you, Tai, was that you were not with the band for a number of years, 3 or 4 years before the rest of you started to kind of decide to put the farewell tour in Third Day. What changes for you? How does that change your perspective coming into this reunion, knowing that you've been away a little bit longer? Is there more respect for the music? Is there more respect for the fans? Or is it just something you feel just comfortable jumping right back into? Because, again, it's a little bit different than the situation that maybe the other guys are in.
I mean, at least what I feel like is because they're because the relationship stayed intact. It wasn't even though we were all doing different things, David and I always lived close to each other, so lots of connections there. And then certainly with Mac through the years, like even when I was in the band, I felt like I was like just so lucky to be a part of it. I truly had this appreciation that I got to be a part of it. So now it's more of I feel that appreciation, but also now like a responsibility to really be worthy of it. Of just like, who gets to do this? That you had this, you won the lottery. You won the lottery when you're born in this amazing country, and then you won the lottery when you take your high school friends and you get to go do what you love. With like, we had no ambition beyond that. We just wanted to play music and have people be impacted by our message, and that happened from day one. And then our heroes would be bands like the Prayer Chain and the Choir that sold 40,000 records. There was not like, let's start and someday we'll get a gold record. Someday we'll get a Grammy. It was all such a, like, so exceeded any expectation. And anyone that saw us in the early years, it would have exceeded their expectations too for this band.
I remember that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in my memory, I really felt like, I think we felt like, man, if we get a record deal and we can put out 2 records and drive across the country a couple of times doing shows, and then in about 3 or 4 years, we'll be done and we can go get real jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what there was both.
That was the dream.
That was the dream. I mean, there also was, I remember Mark and I, when we first started out, you also had this vision of like, we thought, we could be as big as Petra one day. That was really that's the goal.
Yeah.
We want to be as big as Petra. But the reality you thought was like,
you're never going to be.
You're not going to do that.
Right.
You can't do that. So maybe we can get a deal and make a couple records and do this for 3 or 4 years, and then that'll be a fun story to tell our grandkids.
I remember, so being from Atlanta, The Waiting, I don't know if you remember them, also from Atlanta. They had started doing this a little bit before us, and we saw them, and they would leave in their van and they would go and do a week of shows and come back. And we were like, man, if we ever get to that point where we can leave and be on like a tour for a week and come home, we've made it. We set our sights pretty low because we were doing that after about 6 months. But, it's just amazing to see that God's got this like way past what we had envisioned for it. It's amazing.
And I had that also in my notes. I mean, you guys were documenting a lot of this. I've seen some of the videos. We were looking at, like, when you were in your 10th anniversary, you're like, let's look back. And I watched some of those tapes from the very, very first shows. So there obviously was something there, though, because you knew, like, we need to probably be recording this because it's all there. I mean, there's all this. Most bands do not have the archive that you guys even have.
I don't feel like we have
near the
archive. We should.
Yeah, true.
But we do have some stuff.
We
do have
shows
some
ever.
stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, and I would imagine a lot.
Change.
I would imagine a lot of artists don't that were from that era because it's just we just take for granted how easy it is to record stuff now. But you had to get a video camera out there and make sure you had some tapes and all that. And then, so the fact that we had anything is good. I of course wish we had more.
Yeah.
I do have an archive of like digital 8 recordings, like all like the Come Together record. I bought a digital 8 camcorder, but now I don't have any way like I don't have a FireWire port to access to plug it in.
We can help you.
I know. So may I'll just give you and you see if you find anything.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, oh, this is cool. I have a camcorder. Let me put it on the back of a remote control truck and drive it around the studio that we built. And Max just like, can you just be quiet? I'm trying to record a vocal. So,
well, you also brought your plans were certainly maybe smaller than God's plans, and I feel like that has been the story of Third Day over and over and over again, where God is breathing through this band and has been for 30 years now. Do you feel it when you guys get back together today? Do you feel a different frequency or an energy that happens when you're together that maybe doesn't happen when you're playing these songs even solo?
Yeah, I mean, it's a special thing, of course, that the Lord's blessed us all with. I think for me, when we get together today, it doesn't feel very different.
Yeah.
Once again, I said this earlier, but it doesn't feel like several years of not doing this together. It feels like, yeah, it was an interesting thing earlier on, and I hope I'm not going too far with this, but Ty was kind of, we were doing a recording earlier today, and he was kind of tearing up like, man, we're doing this again. And I was kind of like yeah. He's like, you just don't care. I'm like, no, I've been doing this. This is like, they all got real jobs, I don't have the qualities to get a real job. So I sing and I go and do stuff. And so it was like a good reminder of like, oh man, this is a special thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I was just kind of looking at it like, oh, let's get this over with. He was a great reminder to me of like, man, this is a special thing that we get to do together, that we got to do together for a long time.
Yeah.
And now we get to do again in the spring of next year.
Yeah.
I think like, again, I'm a bass player. I'm not a theologian, but when you've truly released something to God and you're not holding on to anything, it's truly open-handed. It was not a part of my, it's like, I don't introduce myself to people that I was former bass player for Third Day. So now that I feel like, but because I had an open hand, it feels like God's given me this back. And it just feels really special. And so yeah, I mean, Mac also gets to hear his voice every time he speaks. It's when he's singing and we're playing and he's playing these songs that have meant a lot to me just personally. And it's like, it's just so special because I had released it. I think if I was calculating and had a plan of like someday, whatever, and I think for you, maybe that's different because you just had, it's just a matter of time.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
do this.
absolutely.
And I was like, this ain't ever going to happen. It's really feels special for me.
Yeah, I did say, sorry to interrupt.
No.
I feel like when we were done, I get asked all the time because I'm still going out and doing shows. People would ask all the time, when's the Third Day reunion? When you guys going to make music together again? And my answer has always been for 7 years now has always been, well, one day. I hope to get to do it one day, and then one day's here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thankful.
When you are looking at this now, you said you've been touring as Mac Powell solo, Mac Powell of Third Day, or however you want to say it. Now, after today and the experience you had with Ty and people you've seen today even, does that change your perspective of seeing the marquee be Third Day? Does it mean something different than going out there as a solo artist, playing even some of the songs?
Yeah.
Because now there's almost a little more responsibility to what that name means.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more history to it, than just me as a solo artist. I have 2 records out, so there's not a lot there. I'm still, as a solo artist, still trying to make new fans, and whereas Third Day has this amazing history and tons of music, and
Is it more pressure or less? Because I
feel
like
I think it's less. Probably.
You think it's less for
you?
you?
It's less pressure. Yeah, because this is an established thing and people know it. So yeah, it's less, and it's cool. And the other thing for me is that even I've never stopped singing Third Day songs. I wrote a lot of these songs. So as a solo artist, I'm still, of course, the fans want to hear that stuff, and of course, I'm going to sing some of that stuff. So I think that's the other thing that's kind of the difference, because and Mark does some solo shows as well. So these guys, the rhythm section, it's been years, But we're still kind of living with the songs. So now we get to live with the songs together, which is, I've had some great bands through the years and great musicians with me, but it's not the same as what we have together. So, it's special.
Just don't tell that to your daughter.
So I'm totally gonna like nerd out like musically, but there's a lot of great musicians out there, but there's something that happens when Mac starts playing acoustic and David's playing, and there's just this intuitive thing just from having played together a long time. Yeah. That it sounds like Third Day.
And
as soon as we start playing. What? No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was kind of just thinking rhythmically how they play off each other.
If you could keep the bass down.
Let's turn the bass down a little bit.
All the way down. No, I agree. I think it was really interesting yesterday. We got together yesterday to rehearse. Like that was the first time the four of us had played together in a very long time. And it's like, I was a little nervous. And I mean, I'm playing a cajon, a box drum. I mean, I'm not even playing a drum kit yet. And I was never like that proficient at the percussion side of things. It was always just more drum kit. But still, I was like, okay, I know how to keep a rhythm and I keep a tempo. And I mean, and I told somebody earlier today, it feels like the muscle memory will always kind of be there. Like we did it for so long. We put in our, 10,000 hours, probably 20,000 hours when it was all said and done. I mean, I think that is going to be there. And like Mac was saying, hopefully it gets a little tighter. We feel like we're firing on all cylinders, but I was pleasantly surprised to just get together and feel like it did feel like it had only been a few months since we had played together. And yeah, I mean,
it doesn't
that was
feel
incredibly
tighter,
encouraging.
So also understand that, like, it is also very refreshing to see like a rock band playing rock and roll music and not having to worry about every bit of production and every bit of tracks and every bit of things that come into so much of music right now, which is great. I got no problem with it.
Sure.
But it's very different when we got your input list and it's, oh yeah, mic is up and ready to go.
Yeah.
We got here and we said, and we don't even need those.
You don't even need that.
In ears, let's just go acoustic.
And
It'll
this
be great.
is day one.
Yeah.
I mean, there is something very refreshing about that as a music fan to go, oh yeah, this is what it meant to be a band.
Well, and bands, I posted this a while back. I just said I miss bands because it felt like we just entered this era of like not a lot of bands, and I totally accept that music evolves, it ebbs and flows, it goes through different seasons. But I think a lot of people miss bands, and there will always be a demand for that. It'll come and go in different ways, and so I'm just grateful that we have a chance to come back out and sort of do that again for people, and be one of those bands that they loved, but kind of give them sort of a new season of it, just a short little season just to come back. I think it's great.
I'll definitely ask about that in a second here, but I wanted to talk to you because you brought up the drumming side of it. And I think that is maybe when you hear about reunion tours, I always feel for the drummer. I always go, man, because the muscle memory is there, but it is brutal and it can be brutal on your body.
Yeah.
I mean, have you stayed up? Have you been playing? Or is this the first time you're going to be back behind a kit?
I mean,
10 years.
I've got some work to do, put it that way. I
feels a little different since 20. It's
yeah. Well, I could get up and play a few songs, but if I had to if I was trying to have the endurance for the whole show, I mean, that's where it would be difficult. And but I've got a great spot right now to really kind of just get alone and play and work through everything and really try to. I'd like to elevate my skill beyond where it left off. I'd like to show up with like, look, I can do these things now, or I'm just, I want to. We all want to show up as confident as we can. But I am going back to the muscle memory thing. I'm grateful that that's there. I don't think I'm going to struggle to get through the songs, but the endurance and just that sort of like punch to it, like it's probably going to take a little work for me to build.
Play in arenas. It's going to be pretty cool.
Can I build on that?
Yeah, of course.
I think it kind of hit me a few months ago, and I shared it probably with each of the guys individually, like over a breakfast with each one of you. But like there's no reason where each one of us can't show up better than we ever were.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, like even the cool thing is, so Mac's been playing music, and like I told him on the way over here, like, man, you've like improved on guitar. I can tell you're better on guitar.
Yeah.
But with us, what we have for this tour, and it's really just to our whole professional team, has really been executed really well. And just all the preparation is like, we have this gift we almost never had with the band because we have time. It's like, instead of just like, here we're going, and now here's the next thing, and we can have a couple of days of rehearsal, let's go. It's like, we have this time where there's no reason every one of us like, yeah, right now you feel that way, but if you go, okay, I have to March, let's reverse engineer this, how much, get going on time.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I really, I feel like we can, and I know for my part, I'm kind of issuing the challenge. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Who's going to show
That's
up?
a guitar pick.
That's the
Yeah.
third day. That's a rare.
I'm going to keep that for my collection. It's fine.
No, I think that, and I feel like that's something I've learned from there was all these lessons I learned from music that I took to like the business world. And now I feel like that's something that I've learned from this other world to like, at least personally, to bring back is like, man, it's really, you have a vision, you set a goal, and then you create a SMART goal that's specific, measurable, actionable, it's realistic and time bound. And we have all that where we can go, here's the goal, let's show up.
Mhm.
And
When you were thinking about this interview and how it was going to go, did
Yeah.
you think we were going to be talking about SMART goals?
I was not
See,
expecting
it took
the
a
full-blown
turn.
presentation.
That's great, though.
Anyway, what I was saying is like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, we're going to be all
Anyway,
doing
if that's
personality.
it,
We're going to be
that's
all
what
doing
you
our
want.
personality quizzes now.
Yeah,
That's
let's
good.
go.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I have
No,
this
I-
PowerPoint presentation.
I love that though. Because
C
I
stands
just want to talk to
for.
all the kids in the audience and
Yeah.
like anything is possible.
you have a year though.
Don't get
from
me
when you
started
announced.
on the 4 disciplines
Yeah,
of
we-
It's pretty
execution,
cool.
lead measures, and lag measures.
And for
so.
you got you got 6 months
Yeah.
between now when we're recording this till the day. Have you started to work out what that set looks like? Which if you're saying you're sitting in a room locking it in, have you locked in? I know we talked before. So yeah, there's going to be obviously there's like the 10 songs that better be on the set list.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's going to be
I think
some
it's
swerves there.
going to be more. It's more like, I don't know, 15 to 17 songs that are
Mhm.
these have to be played.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is and maybe I shouldn't say this, but we contractually, I may have told you this, we contractually have to play 2 hours. We've never.
Yeah.
There's once or twice in the history of career of Third Day that we played 2 hours.
Mhm.
It wasn't a lot, a handful maybe. And so now we have to. And so you talk about that endurance, it's like that's for all of us, but there's a lot of music we get to play.
Mhm.
And also try to figure out each night what's going to be different, because each night, yeah, there'll be some stuff that people are going to hear. If they went to every show, they would hear those songs, but there's going to be a lot of different stuff each night, new surprises. And yeah, that's the scary yet exciting part of it as well.
Yeah.
And don't just stretch it out. We went to a show last night. I think they probably also were contractually had to do 2 hours. And about an hour and a half in, I was like, there feels like there's a 20-minute break here where they're just like looking at reading signs out the audience. We're like, okay, let's get on with it. But it makes sense that that's where it's at. One of the things also what is coming out of this interview and talking to all of you is that you really seem to be coming at this from a place that's not jaded, that is not just oriented in the business, the Nashville side of what's happening here. We've talked about this, and maybe you can address this as well. Is you guys stayed in Atlanta, you stayed in Georgia, or in the areas, you never really made it intentionally up here in some ways.
It's really interesting. So David and I rode up together this morning, and as we were driving into Nashville, we were kind of talking about, when was the last time you were up here, whatever, just talking about that. And there's a part of me, I used to live here many, many years ago, and I love it. Love Nashville, great town, great people. But as far as that business industry kind of side of it, I don't miss that at all. And we were both kind of saying that. And I feel like that might be some of the refreshing part that you're saying is because we're not coming to you as a signed record company artist that here's our new product that we're trying to pitch and hope that fans are coming to the show and we've got something we're trying to sell them. We're just like, hey, we're Third Day and we're just celebrating, and it's not about us. It's really about what God did through the band. And just we did a thing today, and there was a very small audience there at the studio, and just even that, just seeing fans and just being reminded of what it's all about and encouraging them, and then they're blessed by the songs and they're encouraging us back, and that's what it's really all about to me. It's not about the the business, which you got to do, nothing wrong with the business side of it. You have to do that, but I like I said, I don't really miss that part.
But it feels like it kept y'all grounded in some ways by not being here in some ways.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you felt like you
No,
got something to say?
what Mark was saying is true, and I've thought about this a lot too. Is that we're not going to be out there trying to promote a new record and then having our sights on like the next big goal, and it's almost like we're going to be the Third Day cover band. Like, we're just going to play the songs that people loved and let it be that. And then, I mean, there's no talk of the future beyond that. It's just, let's do that really well, give people what they want to hear. And that's really freeing to know that we don't have to try to strive hard for, because, spiritually speaking, that you can get in some muddy water about like what, it is a business. There is a business side, no matter what people say about the ministry. There's a business side of it that has to be taken care of. But we're kind of freed up, I think, to just be the band and like not worry so much about all that stuff and not let our motivations be driven and potentially conflicted,
Yeah. I never feel like with you guys, and maybe you're just good at keeping it under wraps, but even when it was wrapping up, the drama never seemed to bubble up to the point of it being some sort of controversy. It just felt like this was the time. And Third Day, at that point, was going through a new season.
Yeah, we weren't. You talking about the ending of the band?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
It wasn't
had
like
talked,
this big
right? No,
problem.
we had talked for years. We said when we're done, whenever that time happens, we don't need to make an announcement. Let's just fade away. And we almost did that. I mean, it was almost as if because even when we did the farewell tour, and Mark and I were the only ones originally from the band to be on the farewell tour, we didn't even want to do that. And I don't know if I shared the story with you, but the reason we did that was because Tom Petty died in the fall of 2017, and I'm like so just depressed walking around the house. And my wife said, "What's wrong with you? You don't act like this, for long periods of time. What's going on?" And I told her, I said, "I feel like my friend died." And I never met Tom Petty, but it just felt like here's this music and this guy that inspired and encouraged me so much, and now he's gone. And she called me a couple of days later and she said, I know you don't want us to hear this, but it's like the way that you feel about Tom Petty, there are a lot of fans who are going to feel that way about Third Day. You need to give them a chance to say goodbye and so we went and did the tour, and I'm glad that we did it. But
it was a little unfinished, though.
It was a little unfinished, and even with that, but we never wanted to make some big announcement. We just wanted to kind of fade away because I think we knew there would be a time like this where we wanted to come back together and play some music together, whether that's on a cruise or a 2-week tour or a club tour or whatever it be. And now we get a chance to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you've never had that big explosive moment that ended, we just saw the Oasis reunion. Obviously that, ended in like chaos, but they did the same thing. They got back together, no new music, 30 years of hits. And trust me, everyone was smiling leaving that stadium.
Sure. That's awesome.
It was so to know that this is what you're going to be providing the fans is cool. And I was doing some diving on Tom Petty because after I knew we had this conversation, just a little side note that's fun is that so Tom Petty's last show in Nashville was at Bridgestone Arena, and it was in 2017 on their 40th anniversary tour. So you're on 30th anniversary tour, and I believe it's the same week.
Oh wow!
And then as Third Day, we'll be playing at Bridgestone Arena. So there's some connective tissue there. That I think is pretty cool.
I think we have some cover songs.
Oh yeah, maybe that's something you can throw in there. Yeah. Speaking of that, is there any song? I mean, we got with hits, but is there any song that you guys are like individually hoping to sneak in, or maybe it's your favorite, whether it's a hit or a deeper track?
As we were talking about the show, I think I probably go. I mean, Max sees the most artists on the road. I probably go to the most shows. Like I think like you, like when there's a band in town, I love going to see it almost across genres, and just I just always study shows. I always have, but like I really think there was a real genius to the way Taylor Swift put her Eras tour together. My daughter's a huge Swiftie. So like she has the live stream every day,
my daughter, he says. You are.
Well, I am too.
Well, how could you not
I am
be?
too now because, and I have lots of reasons why, but I don't want to cry anymore today. But like she, like my daughter, Lucy, it's our thing. Like
it's cool.
she texted me when I was in Massachusetts last week, Dad, Taylor just announced a new record. I am so excited, whatever. And ever since we met Taylor in 1989, or in the 1989 tour, we met Taylor.
You were there very early.
we were on early.
We
like every new album, I buy it on vinyl and we have a listening party together. It's a great just father-daughter thing. So Justify. But Taylor, if she cut one of her moments from the show, like if she didn't dive through the stage on the Eras tour and a show because she didn't feel like it that night, you would have people really upset. Because even the moments they see on YouTube, they would feel ripped off if they didn't get to experience it at the show. But she masterfully had a secret song on every single show. Secret songs and guests were her key to make sure that every single show she touched all the bases but gave something individual for every concert. I actually think that's a master class for an established act on how to put together a concert. So for us, someone asked in the previous interview, like, well, you're going to do you do a new record, new songs. And again, just, Mac's great at the vague answer, like, who knows? But what we're not going to do on this tour is try to sell people anything. It is going to be this, because I go to a lot of concerts, and when the act just says, and do you mind if we play even one new song? Everyone goes, yay, because I want to go to the bathroom.
I got to pay. Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
and we're all getting older, so a bathroom break, maybe we just need to build that into the set list.
Just a little intermission.
But I do.
That's how you get to 2 hours.
So I really feel like we all hold in like a sacred trust these songs, that we want to give them their best versions ever. Really, there's songs that even through the years in Third Day would be like, here's Cry to Jesus, we'll give them a verse chorus, and I think I want to give them a great touch all the bases, but I want what I would push is, yes, I have a list of songs that, like, I hope that at least once as a Third Day fan, I get to play. And so it will
give me one.
Yeah, I can give you 100.
Yeah.
But
How about one?
Have one. Yeah. It's getting late.
like, I don't think we'd play that. But like, there's a side of Third Day that wasn't on the radio.
Just name a song.
Well, I would love
song.
to. I would love to play like Other Side.
Okay,
and
great.
play it,
It's a great one. Love that one.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Anyone that pops out? You're all going to say Other Side.
Yeah, I don't know. We've played Call My Name a lot in the past. I always love that song.
That's fine. I'm not saying it has to be a deep,
Yeah.
just a song that still touches.
I love Nothing Compares. I loved it. I've always loved it. But I was telling these guys earlier, about a year ago, a friend of mine shared this YouTube video of us when we were playing it live, and I'd kind of forgotten that we did this arrangement where we would play like the first verse chorus, and then we would just play the music bed, and Mac would share this passage from, I think it's Philippians, Paul talking about, like, basically the theme of the song. And it really, basically it was like a gospel presentation, like while we were playing the music bed. And I just like got chills watching it. So I love that song, and I just look forward to having a chance to play it again. Be cool.
It's a great one.
As Ty said, there's a ton of songs, especially the up-tempo ones. But Slow Down, we have a song called Slow Down I wish that we could do.
It's not on a list. What's funny, so there's a list of about, I think Mac was saying earlier, it's like 22 songs. Mm. Then there's another list of probably 10 or 12 that are like, boy, it sure would be cool if we played these songs too. And then some of these that we're mentioning aren't even on that list. So we got a lot of songs.
Well, you say it's a big tour. It's a limited time, but you got some time.
We can rotate some.
I like the idea of surprise songs.
Yeah.
I do too.
We'll start to wrap up because I know it's getting late, guys. But you brought up something, Ty, and I think this is just kind of 2 points to this. It's a connective point, you and Taylor, with your daughter. I think this is very true for your music, and not only my generation who grew up on the music, but even my parents who were around for the music, who maybe I was the fan, but they were also there. That you are going to have a 3 and 4 generation crowd. How does that? Is that alarming, or is that
how is that impacting the merch line?
How is that? It's incredible in some ways, because you're going to be there and you're going to see my kids who never got to see Third Day. Who, when you split up, they were either too young to ever go to a show, or it was just wasn't on the radar at that moment. And then you're going to have people who have been with you for 20 years, people that have been with you for 30 years, because it is a even when we talked about this, even the set list alone, it's like everyone kind of has their version of where Third Day came into their lives, whether it was consuming fire or offerings or later. It's not like it's this
Seasons.
It's a season. Yeah. And a lot of it was like, well, when were you 15? That's when it lands,
This tour will be sponsored by Ancestry.com.
So I'm going to totally
Stones
rip
was
off.
ARP.
I'm totally going to rip off Bart for Mercy Me, but he said one time that, like, we used to say that we were your mom's favorite band. Now we're your grandmom's favorite band. So I feel like we're getting into that, but it is a multi-generational thing. And I know, Ty was talking about his daughter. I know for me, like when we were even first talking about this tour, and I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's the right time or whatever. And, not a few days later, just completely unprompted, my oldest daughter just kind of out of the blue was like, Dad, you ever think about doing any third day stuff? It just feels like it's time. It feels like you should. And so that conversation for me was when I was like, okay, I'm on board. So I know for all of us, it's something that, maybe our kids were able to see it, but they were really little.
Mm-hmm.
So now our kids hopefully are grown up now and can see it and maybe appreciate and see us like and compare it to, other artists that they like. And, it's cool. So I know if it's that way for us, it's got to be that way for the fans too, that they have this generational kind of connection there. And it's really neat.
For a long time, Third Day was the youth group band, the band that your kids would listen to. And then when we got to a certain point, anywhere from 2000 to 2004, more people outside of the youth group started listening to us. And at that point, we really prided ourselves in families coming to concerts. You'd see, parents, grandparents, and kids. And because we've always loved that, we're all family men. I really look forward, as you say, looking forward to even more now to seeing some of those fans that we've seen for a long time bring their parents and their kids and grandkids sometimes even now. It's a beautiful thing.
I also think just music, rock music has matured and changed, and the fans have with it. Like when we started, it was like, there was plenty of shows where it was like the adults were in the back of the room just scorning at us, like you are too loud, and just hatred seething out. Anyway, you know what I'm talking. I can picture the shows.
We all went to plenty of them.
And it was just like, listen, like we're playing in a tin box with a drum kit. We can't get any quieter. But it was just like and then there was still this like just rock and roll. It was getting over like, is this the devil's music? And you can't do this and do this at the same time. Like actually,
it's the 90s.
Literally said
coming out of it. Yeah.
And so there was still this transition for CCM, still at a different stage in its history. But even rock music, I mean, Mac, you're going to go see Paul McCartney in a few months in his 80s. All of these fans, when you think of someone in their 60s or 70s now, they might be in the Get Off My Lawn stage, but because they have iPad Air Max headphones and they're rocking out to the music that they loved when they were 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
So it's not that rock music is just for the kids. So you see grandparents, that are like, they'll surprise us because you would think that they'd come up and say, oh, they're just going to request God of Wonders. And they come up and they request Slow Down. Or they request Never Bow Down, or it's like, so I just think musically, so many people that I see across generations, it's usually the rock fans teaching the kids, this is rock music. This is a drum kit. This is a band that's playing together instead of a computer. This is why we take that. You see that though, like, and we see it with our own kids. It's like,
I forced my kids to see enough of those shows.
Yeah.
Well, I took them to see McCartney last year. I said, this is important. You gotta see it. And it's a lot different. It's a great experience. To wrap it up completely, because I do want to get you out of here. Third Day means a lot to a lot of people, including myself. And even coming out of this and knowing that the four of you are still not only wanting to play this music, believe what the music stands for, I think is not only impressive, it's maybe rarer than we all would have hoped for a lot of bands that came out of the 90s and 2000s. So first, I just want to say thank you for that, because it makes this music not only necessarily validated, but you feel as a fan a little bit validated going, yeah, these guys stuck with it. So I just kind of wanted to wrap on that, to just say thank you guys for coming out here and still believe in what you've been preaching since, the early 90s, because that's no easy thing. It's no easy thing for people everyone goes through ups and downs in their faith, of course. It's just part of the journey. But this is a unique thing.
Well, I will say, all of us have, lived a lot of life in this time between, the last time we were all together. We've been through some hard things and tests and trials, and I know my faith, was tested at times, and but we were talking about it yesterday, just kind of like coming back to that core thing about we know what we believe, we know what we stand for. We don't have to understand all of it. We don't have to have all the answers, but we do know that what we sing about, what we play about is real, and it's real to us. And I don't think we would want to do it if it wasn't coming from a real place.
Mm-hmm.